Hey guys, it's Mitzel, and today we're going to be talking about devils, hybrids, and fiends, which are in Chainsaw Man, of course, because that's what I'm talking about today. So I wanted to kind of start this off and do something new, because, well, what I'm basically saying is I want to do something new other than my spoiler reviews, because I kind of want to not do that, because I saw somebody else is doing it, and, I kind of feel like we don't have any videos on YouTube that explain what devils are, what fiends are, and what hybrids are. We have the wiki, but nobody checks the wiki. So I'm here to, bring the wiki to you, more or less. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some of my ideas that I think should be in the wiki, but, like, aren't. Anyway, I wanted to kind of talk to you guys, like give you a basis of what a devil is, and then talk about four different devils, and then give you a basis of a fiend, and then give you four different fiends, and then finally four different hybrids, and explain what a hybrid is. Now, I think hybrid is actually a term that we use like in the collective West. It's not. I don't think it's a Japanese term. Like it didn't originate from the manga. It's just like our own kind of term, from what I remember. I don't know about fiend. Maybe that was just exactly stated in the manga, but hybrid. I'm pretty sure is not exactly the same in the manga. Anyway, let's start off with devil, which is basically a creature type of sort of thing, and they embody a fear, any kind of fear. Like there's a tomato devil at the start. That's kind of the first devil I want to talk about. You never expect anybody would be afraid of tomatoes, but can you imagine it? Like you're just walking down the street, see a tomato, you're like, Jesus. Suddenly there's a tomato devil, because you just have one fear of tomatoes for a second. That's probably how it works. I don't quite get it, but either way, if somebody has a fear of something, it has a devil. That's the basis of it, which is kind of crazy. Like, dude, I don't exactly know the limitations. Like, I don't think it's very specific things, but I don't exactly know how devils are made or the creation. We're probably never going to find out about that. I don't think Fujimoto is the type of person who delves and explains things. We don't really get much of an explanation for how, like, what the limits are of devils, hybrids, and fiends are truly. But yeah, tomato devil. Basically, you can have a fear of anything, and there will be a devil for it, and that's pretty amazing, to be honest. Since I don't know, I could have a fear of plastic, and suddenly there's a plastic devil. It's crazy. But devils give away. They have special powers. I think they're more of. I don't exactly get what the limitations on their powers are, because they really range. The weaker devils are definitely the ones that are feared less. I can tell you that. So they probably have less powerful powers. Like you can't just point at somebody and they die. The powerful devils can probably do something like that. Now, as I stated before, the more you fear a devil, like the more devil's fear is, I guess, just the more you'd fear a devil, the more powerful they become. And so devils kind of desire you to fear them, I assume. I assume they like fear. I don't exactly know, because we kind of get like the idea that humans and devils don't really mix, and devils probably like getting more powerful. But that's kind of like every like supernatural creature that's evil. That kind of is everything like that. But yeah, the point is, devils want to get more powerful by having more devils fear them. They can exist at just having somebody fear them. Assumably, just humans can fear them, but it is mentioned later in the story that devils can fear as well. But I don't know if that can cause the devil to get more powerful. We don't exactly know that. But we're gonna continue on to the next devil, which I want to talk about, which is the Fox Devil, who is one of the not first, but like earlier devils we meet, who is very friendly with the humans, and he gives away a lot of contracts which give powers to humans, share the power of the devil to the human. I don't exactly know. Like, we don't know if the powers the fox, like, cause here's an idea. I'm gonna give you an idea. Cursed devil, he has if you hit him, if you give somebody 4 attacks, then they'll get like a, if you hit them 4 times with a sword or some kind of sharp object, whatever you choose, then they'll get killed. They'll get like some kind of execution thing. But he also has this weird thing where Aki had him, the one of the main characters, and he was able to put his devil came out from the shadows with his gigantic finger and launched his sharp object into enemy, which was the Katana Man, which I'll talk about later. And I'm not sure exactly what, if that was just because he could come from the shadows. Was that because of the contract, or was that because of his devil powers? I don't exactly know how this works, but but I assume it's just because of contracts that they can come from the shadows nearby their contracted person. But that's just my guess. So Fox Devil is one of the friendlier ones. He is willing to contract with pretty much anyone in exchange for, I believe it was skin. I don't exactly remember what it was, but for Aki, he was given a better contract, so he was able to use the head instead of the arms, which most people get, because I guess the fox has preferences and it thinks they're ugly, and Aki is handsome or pretty. So it's pretty interesting that, you know, Aki gets a better contract than others because of preference. So, and that kind of shows that devils are more or less humans in a way. Like they're creatures, but humans at human attributes. I'm not exactly sure if we're gonna find out the origin of devils. Maybe they are human creation. Who knows? But next one I want to talk about, which I was talking about a little bit before, is the Cursed Devil, who launched a sharp object of Aki's. It was like a needle or sword. I'm not exactly sure we had, but he was shown 2 times in the series. Fox was shown like 5 or 6. I don't know. It's much more. Fox is way more friendlier than Curse, but still 2 times it was shown. And Curse, stole away Aki's life, but it's able to execute people basically if you hit him 4 times or 3 times with a sharp object, which is pretty crazy. But both times they were used was on a hybrid, so they were able to regenerate back the damage that they were given, which is pretty crazy, to be honest. But the last one I want to talk about that is a devil is the Darkness Devil, who is horrifying. When we first met Darkness Devil, we had a preconception of what devils had, like what kind of power they had, and we thought they were pretty crazy. You know, they weren't like, you know, they weren't able to just kill people in a mid-second. In a mere second, I mean. But it's what Darkness Devil has in his like toolkit. Like he's just able to split second kill everybody. He's also apparently able to regenerate. He's able to be just way more powerful in the darkness, which is pretty much everywhere on Earth. But anyway, Darkness Devil is our introduction to the Primals, who we don't know any of them, any of the others, but Primals are basically the primordial devils that were like always around. They were like the first devils, and they've never left Hell, which is like the location of devils, the origin place. Devils, I also want to mention this before we go on, but devils, they go from Earth to Hell and back and forth through respawning, from what I assume, or at least if they die on Hell, they end up on Earth. So that's pretty interesting. I think that's about it for the devils, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, and I'm not exactly sure of these, but here's a couple of things. Devil's power, it's undone once they die. I'm just taking this from the wiki. I don't remember this when this stated, but you know. So I also want to mention that the here's an idea of what fiends and hybrids, like why a devil might want to become a fiend or a hybrid. They might be able to get out of contracts through being a fiend. So if they have a shitty contract that they have to oblige to, they might not want to be that, and so they go to become a fiend, which also really limits their power, from what I understand. Because apparently, Power, the main girl, she used to be quite powerful, but she was kind of given the short end of the stick when she became a fiend. I don't know if it was out of her own choice, because Makima's very not very giving of choices. She's gotten some crazy stuff going on in the last couple chapters that makes it seem like she doesn't give choices. But I I don't know why they would become a fiend other than if they get out of contracts. That's my idea of why devils would we want to become a fiend in the first place. And I think there's a weird. I also want to add one last thing. One last thing. I've added a couple last things, but this is the last thing. The more human a devil looks, the more friendlier they are to humans, which is kind of contradictory because of Fox Devil, who's supposedly friendlier to humans, but Angel Devil, who is part of Division 4, he's pretty friendly to everybody else, even though he's had a bad past, which was recently revealed. But that was when it was stated because of the introduction of the Angel Devil. The more human they look, the friendlier they are, which is pretty interesting. I'm curious what that means if Makima is a devil or something like that. Then does that mean she's friendly? Who knows? Honestly, it's a fiasco. But now I want to get on to fiends. Fiends are basically devils that have taken over human corpse. So why they would do so, who knows? I suggested earlier maybe they want to get out of contracts, but we do have a couple fiends in our thing. We don't actually have that many compared to the devils, and even less hybrids. It's actually kind of insane how little like the comparison between fiends and devils amounts. Like there's like 40 devils or something, and there's like 9 fiends, which is crazy because I mean, of course, you don't want to be less powerful as a fiend, but still, I would have expected we would have seen more fiends by now. Anyway, the first fiend I want to talk about is Power, who is the Blood Fiend. She's an oddity because she can heal like devils can. I also forgot to mention devils can heal, regenerate, whatever. But she can also regenerate, but fiends on the normal can't, from what I understand. Angel Devil is also an oddity, which is really weird because he should be able to regenerate, but recently he wasn't able to regenerate, which is really odd. But I think it's all Fujimoto's contradictive writing. But we're just gonna assume fiends can't regenerate normally, but since she's the blood fiend, that's why she can. Then we have Beam, who is the shark fiend, and he can transform back into his shark form, his shark devil form, which is interesting. I assume there's exceptions all over the place with how the fiends and devils work, but yeah, nothing really special there. I don't really have much to say on fiends, to be honest. Let me see. They're also unable to make contracts with devils, and I assume they're not able to give contracts to humans, which is interesting, unless Makima somehow is a fiend that can make contracts with humans, which would somewhat make sense, but who knows. And then we have Violence, who is, he's a guy with a mask. He's super powerful. Although there's a little theory that was going on, even though he's, dead, then that he's, Arai from before the Gun Devil arc, the guy who was Kobani's friend, and, he kind of looked like a Harai when he took off his mask during the hell part of the last arc. So I don't know about that, but he's super powerful. Still got wrecked by Darkness Devil. I think there. I assume he was really powerful if he got into his normal devil form, but he's in fiend form, which they even had to restrain him even more, which is crazy. But the last one I want to talk about, who kind of like beforehand, I thought that that fiends were kind of limited to non-projectile, like they couldn't do some kind of mojo magic kind of thing where they could just point at somebody and they die. But Halloween has some kind of weird form of at saying something like if she says Halloween and the other person replies back Halloween, then she gets to teleport them to some super duper library that contains all the knowledge in the universe and then overflows their brain, which is crazy. But she's kind of limited. They have to say Halloween. Either way, she's dead. So we'll see her in the future. She's an interesting fiend, I will say that. So we might see her as a devil in the future, but I doubt it. I think that's the last time we've seen of her. But yeah, fiends aren't that interesting. The interesting part is hybrids. Hybrids are basically when a human combines with, when a devil basically becomes a part of a human's body, but gives the human the power to take over. So it's like the opposite of a fiend. Like there's devils in the center, fiends, and then opposite to fiends is hybrids. So yeah. Anyway, the first one I want to talk about is Denji, the main man, who is able to basically, I want to explain hybrids first, obviously. So hybrids are, as I said, human takeover. That. But also, they got some sort of trigger on their body that allows them to take a different form, where they embody the devil, and like the devil that they had taken over, and they transform into this sort of weird creature. Like Denji has like chainsaws from his arms and chainsaw head, that's why it's called Chainsaw Man, obviously. And then Reze has bombs. I don't really know. She has a bomb head though. In the end, she has a bomb head. And then Kwang Ji is somebody who has arrows and an arrowhead, a bow and arrow. It's pretty interesting. I love the designs. There seems to be a theme of weapons, man-made weapons, which I'm curious about. I'm really hoping that it's just like a thing that he's doing, because I think that gives us an opportunity to more accurately guess what the next hybrid is. And so Denji, basically, he's able to spout out chainsaws, and dependent on his blood amount, he's able to make him bigger or smaller. So if he has little blood in his system, then he's just going to have a smaller chainsaw. If he has more, he'll just have normal-sized chainsaws. Unusually long-sized chainsaws, actually. When you actually look at his full arm, it's very weird looking. Because, it's chainsaws out of arms, That's already weird enough. But he's able to sprout them out of his his legs as well. And he's made them just from his feet. So he's able to use that to walk on walls, kind of. Because it'd be like a... I don't know the term for it. It's just like he's using the chainsaws to push the chainsaw into the wall to walk across it. I don't know how to say it, but he does it in a chapter not too long ago. Then, yeah, I mean, he also has a chainsaw on his head, and they're able to regenerate as well, the hybrids, unlike fiends. Well, hybrids can't make contracts, I believe, and I don't think they can take contracts either, because we have not seen a single hybrid take a contract. So, that makes sense. Because what could they offer to a person, like to a devil? What could a hybrid offer? They're immortal. They can regenerate. What could they offer? Exactly. So it's it makes sense. Uh, we don't know the exact limitations of what they can do. It seems like an interesting prospect is Reze, who can detach her fingers and make little bombs out of them. Also, I forgot one thing that I want to talk about after I mention all these. So Reze can take off parts of her body and make them into bombs, and she's able to explode and blah 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 blah. She has bombs, yada yada yada. She explodes. She's got an outfit, which is really interesting because Denji doesn't get an outfit, Quan Chi doesn't get an outfit. I don't think Katana Man gets an outfit, but she gets an outfit when she transforms into this little apron type of thing of bombs. She looks like the Predator, which is interesting. But yeah. Next, I want to talk about Katana Man, who is able to quick draw. Interesting thing. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. He's got katanas in his hand. I think it's side. I don't remember. Is it side? I think it's sideways. I don't know which way it goes. If it's this way or this way, on his hands, how the katanas go, but it's one of the ways. He's got a katana on his head going outward. I don't have much to say. He has a quick draw effect. I already said that, where he's able to super fast with his hands, I think. Some kind of manga anime trope. And then finally we have Quan Chi, who is able to move really, really fast and shoot projectile arrows. And she's like a bow and arrow hybrid, which is pretty sick. She's able to move at like lightning speed. I assume she can move as fast as an arrow can shoot, more likely. And her arrows like blast open like make gigantic holes, which is crazy. You could see them on the puppets. I don't know why, because an arrow does not like create a cavity like this big. It makes no sense to me. But I also want to mention that she's fast, Katana Man's quick draw effect, and Reze's explosion of the body. But Denji also has this sort of strength, insane strength, which is really interesting. And then finally, I'm just kind of like combining all those. I think there's like some kind of like underlying power that each of them have. Like once you become a hybrid, you get like some sort of aspect to you that makes you a little bit different, you know. So that's my kind of guess what makes hybrids super special. I think Denji's the only one who's like faster regeneration than than a normal hybrid. He's also a chainsaw is normally considered a tool rather than a weapon, which is interesting. But yeah, I think that's about it, to be honest. I don't really have much else to say off the top of my head. I mean, there's the Gun Devil, who I also want to mention another thing about Devils. I feel like Devils is the main one rather than the hybrid. I thought hybrids would be more interesting, but like Devils are really truly have the most information and stuff about him. But Devils, super powerful Devils like the Darkness Devil and Gun Devil, if they give away parts of their flesh, or like if you eat part of the flesh, you'll become more powerful. Or if you're human, like if a devil eats them, they'll become more powerful, they say. And then if a human eats them, they'll become a demonic demon sort of thing and gain the powers of the devil. Like for Master, who in the last arc ate Darkness Devil flesh, she became more demonic and demon and yada yada yada. She became a creepy looking creature. But we don't exactly know what happens if a devil eats them, how powerful will it be. But it's interesting to note that the more powerful devils have devil flesh that they give away, and that makes them powerful. Now, I don't think they regenerate normally, which is kind of interesting, because otherwise Gun Devil would have regenerated by now, because its body is separated all over the globe, which is crazy. We don't exactly have a solid grasp on what a super powerful devil's limitations are. I assume it's like they have a limited amount of flesh and they can't like regenerate normally, but who knows. Anyway, that's about it. I might as well end it here on a good note. 25 minutes. It's a nice amount. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. I'm going to see you guys later. And peace out. Subscribe and comment. Like. Yeah.